Buongiorno und herzlich willkommen beim Podcast Nonna Restart, eine berufliche Heldinnenreise 50 plus. Mein Name ist Karina Felsmann. Ich bin die Reisebegleiterin für diesen Podcast. Schön, dass du heute hier bist. Schön, dass ihr heute alle da seid, denn heute starten wir mit einem Experiment. Dieser Podcast wird auf Englisch sein, wobei, nachdem ich persönlich ja nicht ganz sattelfest in dieser Sprache bin, wechseln wir vielleicht manchmal auf Deutsch, weil mein Gast kann beides. Sie spricht super Englisch und Deutsch, obwohl ja das nicht ihre Muttersprache ist. So, today we're starting an experiment. The podcast will be for the first time in English. And since I'm not completely fluent, we will switch to German from time to time because my guest today can do both. Also, she prefers English, even though it's not her native language. Und bevor wir jetzt starten, noch eine Anmerkung, weil in den vorhergehenden Interviews wurde ich mehrfach, darauf aufmerksam gemacht oder das Statement ist gefallen, einfach tun, just do it. Und deswegen haben wir gesagt, just do it, wir machen es einfach ganz authentisch und werden womöglich das eine oder andere Mal switchen. Alisa Kapic, we've known each other for I would say a long time. And you have held various positions in the meantime. And if I'm correctly informed, you are currently Vice President, Sales North Europe and Country Director at
IWG.
IWG, thank you. IWG. And before that, you were the boss of Regos, or you would say in English, Regis, Austria. So, that's correct. Okay. So, may I ask you to introduce yourself? Where are you from? How old are you? And I know you have children. And when will you become a nonna? Warmly welcome.
Yes. Thank you so much, Karina, for having me. It's really a great pleasure to be here today and share my experience with you and your audience. My name is Alisa Kapic. I'm a devoted mother, twin sister, wife, daughter, and I'm also a leader, but I'm also a passionate athlete.
Okay, so athlete in which direction?
Yes, I played basketball. I played professionally basketball in the United States.
Sorry for interruption for our audience. She's very tall. Yeah, so could imagine, fit perfectly.
Yes. I was born in a very beautiful city, what used to be part of a beautiful country called Yugoslavia. I was born in the city of Sarajevo. This is where I grew up. I lived there for 17 years, and my childhood was filled with love, with affection. And, when I look back, I can really certainly say, thank you, Dad, for instilling certain values into my sister and myself, because we learned at early age about working habits. We had different chores in home, but we also had a lot of fun. At the age 4, we knew all the Beatles song.
Let it be.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it with our dad. But then all of that harmony basically was suddenly ended as we were 13 because our dad decided to leave our mom. And he went back to Dubrovnik, to Croatia, where he's from. And basically, that was a very difficult period for my sister and myself because all the harmony that we had known was sort of changed overnight. And our mom worked really hard to provide for us, to make sure that we had everything what our peers had, and we basically forced to start working our first jobs to earn some pocket money. And then when we were 17, our mom decided to send us to the States for a year to finish high school and to improve our English language.
sorry for interruption. May I ask you, how comes that she decided the US for you? So she had a special relationship with
No, it was a program. It was called IUSA, and they were reaching out to different schools and asking parents if they would be interested to send their children. So a lot of kids from our school, from our class, even decided to finish the last year of high school in the United States.
Okay.
And the whole idea of the program was to separate these students so nobody speaks in the native language and everybody's sort of forced to speak in English, because that was the purpose of the whole trip, right? Because that didn't cost peanuts. I mean, it was a lot of money. So then we basically went to the United States. That was the first time that I was separated from my twin sister.
Wow.
Yeah, that was really, really difficult.
Okay.
On top of everything else that then came afterwards. And then shortly after we arrived in the States, the war started in Croatia, where our dad lived with his family. So for the 6 months, we basically had no idea if he was alive.
Wow.
And you're having such a great time in the States, beautiful experience, but you cannot even enjoy that because on the other hand, people are fighting for their lives. And then 6 months later, when that bad dream finished, the worst nightmare began, and the war in Sarajevo started, where mom lived. Mom worked at the hospital. And that was probably the most critical times in our lives because we lost some friends. Fortunately, none of the relatives lost their lives, but that troubled us a lot. And, and in those moments, when you have to make decisions, because mom wanted us to come back and start studying in Sarajevo, well, that was mission impossible because you couldn't go back. And we are young. We never made any decisions in our lives without our parents guiding us. And in those moments, you try to think about what your parents have always been telling you. And I'll never forget our dad, who always told us, try always to be the best at what you do. Don't give up, don't stop learning, and help others. That's what they tried to tell us and what they tried to instill in us, those values. And, in those hard moments when you try to make decisions, what now? You try to think about those values. And they really guided me and are still guiding me throughout my life. And I'm trying to instill these values into my children.
So would you describe these values as internal voices in this very moment where it's very difficult to survive? You remember them and you feel it in your heart, or?
Well, those were the intrinsic voices, definitely. And they reminded me of what our parents would tell us if they were next to us.
Okay.
Because at that moment, we had to make a decision to go study. And it was always that our parents told us, you need to continue your education. So there was no question if we should not go to study, but it was a question how we can afford to go to the university. As you know, universities in America are really, really expensive. And then that's when my passion, basketball, came into play.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. How comes? Who helped you?
Well, my sister went to the coach at that university and told him, I have a sister, because I was in the state of Washington and my sister was in Mississippi. So my sister goes to this college and tells the coach, I have a sister who plays basketball. Could you please give her the scholarship?
Really?
This guy didn't even see me. And he said, we will give her the scholarship, but please don't disappoint me.
Really?
So no pressure, Alisa. But then the American family of my sister invited me to come and join them and to live with my sister and with them. They even adopted us. They are like my second parents. Unfortunately, they are not with us today, but they have done so much for us.
Wow.
That family became our own family. My mom was so grateful to Joanne and Tom for all the love, for all the support that they had provided to us, because they adopted another girl. So there were 3 girls from Bosnia who they adopted, besides their 3 children that they had.
So you were in 6?
Yeah, although 2 of them were already married, so they left home. So it was basically 4 of us under one roof. It's a lot of kids, a lot of girls.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Girls.
So I came
Girls only.
and I went to the practice, and the coach said, you got it.
Wow.
And it's one of those things, again, going back to hard work. I always was competitive. I always wanted to be the best at what I do, and I didn't want to disappoint the coach. And I also didn't want to basically, disappoint my sister who fought for me and got us the scholarship, got us the entrance into
And behind them, your mom, your dad,
Correct.
and so on. But I guess there were maybe some moments where it was not possible for you to be the best. Did you never lose?
If you think about beautiful game of basketball, you are working or playing with 4 other players. For me, the most important thing is when you step on that court, you gotta give 120%. Because I have to look at myself in the mirror and say, did I do everything to help my team win? If I did, then even if we lost...
It's not the question.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And, I was captain on my team, and I always tried to basically instill this. We all have to be our best on that court. And whatever happens, happens. But we have to make sure that we can say we tried our best.
I can imagine that this attitude is also helpful in business life, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Basketball taught me so much, dear Karina. Yeah. First of all, the importance of teamwork. And this is really where I put so much focus on. I have been working for IWG for almost 19 years. And if I can say that I'm proud of something, this is basically that we instill this team spirit. Because team should always come first. We have 55 different personalities in our team, but team is number one. And our job, I always say, should be that we help each other be better. Because only then we can meet the targets.
Understood. Maybe to understand a little bit more your daily life, your business life. So could you describe what are you doing every day?
Yes. And it's really interesting because I've been working for the same company for almost 19 years. And nowadays, you don't find too many people who have been with a certain company for so long. And I'm always asked, well, how did you manage to stay there for that long? I've had a fantastic journey. I always say there was not one single day in my career that was the same as the previous one. It's such a dynamic environment, an environment you can certainly develop yourself professionally and personally. So today, as a country director for Austria and sales vice president for Europe North, I look after 12 countries. So I have 11 direct reports, and I always start my day with sort of daily check-in call just to make sure we are all at work and we know what is the agenda for the day. And I have a lot of one-to-ones because I do manage remotely. Right? I can meet with my team here in Vienna, but for the other countries, we are relying on Teams, on the technology to do that. So I do that. I love meeting with customers. Whenever I go to a center, I always try to meet with some customers just to check on them, to see if we are delivering what they are expecting. And I always like to sit at the reception and spend a few minutes at the reception just to see.
That's clever. That's very clever.
Just to check the temperature.
Maybe you can describe us a little bit what your company is doing. So maybe somebody knows not exactly about former Regis and now IWG. Yeah,
sure. So IWG stands for International Workplace Group. And the reason we changed the name a few years back is that we started acquiring different brands. So we were known for Regis. Regis was the only brand. Regis was the company, basically. And then as we started adding on other brands, we had to change the name, right? So now it's the umbrella company. IWG. And under this umbrella, we are operating different brands. In Austria, it's Regis and Spaces. So what does IWG do? We are the world's largest provider of flexible hybrid workspace solutions. So we help millions of people, 8 million people, to be correct. We help millions of people have a great day at work. We want them to have different possibilities to work, where, when, and from where they want to work from. So we want them to focus on their core business, and we provide them with fantastic infrastructure, whether they need it for a day, for a month, for 2 years, and so on. So we offer different flexible office solutions.
Yeah, so I could have an office for 5 hours or 5 months, and
2 years.
And
you can
provide
scale
everything.
Up. If you need, if the business is growing, you're adding on new employees, we can definitely offer you different space. Then if you say, well, this particular location is not good for me, I would like to change the location. We have 22 centers in Austria, 4,000 worldwide.
Wow.
So, our customers basically have access to all of our locations worldwide.
I can imagine this value of flexibility is very important these days. Who knows what's coming tomorrow? And therefore, it might be an interesting option for the business market, yeah?
Yeah, and we've been in business for over 30 years, and we've been trying to preach about flexibility. And if anything positive came out of Corona, is the fact that everybody talks about hybrid working nowadays.
Yeah, that's true.
The challenge that companies have nowadays is how do we implement this hybrid working in our organizations? And this is basically what we are helping with.
It's another culture, mindset. Yeah, so
trust.
Trust. Big question.
Absolutely.
I have a lot of trust that you managed so many things. But, okay, you told us about the difficult situation to go from one country to the another country and to have this experience then on good one on the one hand, but if you think at home on the other hand. And if you think about your professional life, what was the biggest hurdle?
Mm-hmm. When I came to Germany, because I spent 1 year in Germany before I moved to Vienna, I really honestly experienced culture shock.
From Germany to Austria? Or?
Well, maybe I can say, I can compare Germany and Austria. So when I came back to Europe, in America, companies are extremely customer service centric, very open-minded. When I came here, customer service almost didn't exist. So my task was to try to instill that we are here because of our customers. Our customers are our priority number one. My priority are our employees, but our employees' priority are our customers. And I'm really proud that we have, there's always room for improvement, but we are doing a really good job because Austria is always one of the best countries when it comes to the NPS, Net Promoter Score, on our global scale, and we are always on the top 5. So I'm really proud of that.
Maybe you want to explain this sort of score. Not everybody of the audience might know about it.
Yeah, so many global companies are measured on this NPS, Net Promoter Score, and it is to measure basically, it is the feedback you get directly from your customers. On the services that you are delivering, how well are you doing, and so on. And Austria is really doing a great job on that. And I'm so proud of my team that we are basically out of 120 countries, we are always in top 5. So this is really great achievement for us. So when I came here, my goal was, my German was really not that good, but I wanted to show people that I'm trying to learn their language. And I thought that they should respect me for that.
Yeah.
But I didn't experience that, right?
Okay.
I really experienced that I was not given any respect because I didn't speak the language perfectly.
Really?
And that was so demotivating for me, Karina.
Of course.
I really honestly felt really bad. But I came home to my husband and I'm like, I can't believe, I'm trying my best. And, and they tell me basically that I don't speak the language and so on. And my husband said, well, why don't you try, to mix it with English? I said, okay, well, let me try to do that. And then the next meeting, basically, I came and I said something in English and then I switched to German and then the gentleman said, aber Ihr Deutsch ist viel besser als mein Englisch. Wir können das auf Deutsch machen. And I'm like, yes.
How a good strategy.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So I broke those barriers and gave me a little bit boost
you
of
are
confidence.
International.
Yes.
There's the competence. I could switch from English, perfect speaking, to German or what else.
But those are the moments where you tell yourself, well, nothing is going to basically push me down. I'm here on the mission and nothing is impossible. I'm going to perfect that language. I'm going to work on it, and this is basically, again, going back to those values, never give up.
Never give up.
Playing basketball, keep working hard, success is inevitable.
Interesting, but such a good strategy.
I never thought about it. I need to give credit to my husband.
You should. Okay, next time I will start speaking in French or Italian. I mean, I'm not perfect, but at least maybe I could impress somebody. I'll take that with me. Thank you. So, and if you look back concerning your education, your training, What sort of education or which school did you attend?
Yeah. So I went to university, Christian Brothers University, which was a private school in America, in Memphis, Tennessee, and I studied economy, basically.
Economy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I studied that. Then I started my master's, which unfortunately never finished.
Never give up.
Never give up. Yeah, exactly. But I'm thinking today, could I benefit from completing the master's degree? I don't think so, because master's is sort of a lot of practical work, and I have almost 30 years of that. And I'm thinking, is there anything else that I could do which could contribute to somebody else? I'm very devoted to my children. I have 2 boys, 20 and 15. And guess what? They are both passionate basketball players.
Really?
And
They're
guess
tall.
what? They're very tall.
They're very tall.
So the older one, the 20 years old, is 2'3".
Wow.
And the younger one, the 15-year-old, is 197 already.
Okay.
So they both play basketball. And the older one, you will not believe, following mother's footsteps, got a full ride scholarship to play basketball and study in America. So he's currently in Florida. I'm so proud of him.
Wow.
And I use him as an example that nothing is impossible if you love what you're doing. Because Norton had a huge setback a few years ago. He had a bad injury. He had to have 2 knee surgeries. And I will never forget, he never complained, dear Karina. For the entire summer, that kid had that machine where you had to exercise your knee. Every day for 8 hours, he was doing that machine. And he was back within 6 months on that court. They won the national championship in Austria that year. And it's like amazing. He put so much work into the last 13 years of his basketball career. He earned this. He earned to get a full ride scholarship and play basketball. He didn't go out on the weekends with his
friends.
kids' friends. He basically was in the gym and playing basketball.
Maybe he learned from his mom, never give up.
And follow your passion, basically.
Follow your passion.
Follow your passion.
And there are some values. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
There is no better confirmation for me as a parent, because as a parent, you always try to do the best for your kids, right?
Of course.
We will make mistakes on the way, but we don't do it purposely.
Of course.
We learn as we go. But if I can say, when Norton's coach called me from the States to tell me, one thing I can tell you, he as a player is a great player. But what is more important to me is that he is a good human being. And well done on raising a good
that sounds
human.
great.
And to me, this is the best confirmation. And these are the values again. Treat others the way you want to be treated. To me, this is something that it doesn't matter what title you have, doesn't matter what position you are. We are humans. We are on the same level.
And we're not perfect,
And we are far from it.
And that's
And by the
easier.
way, your English is perfect.
So funny. Have to concentrate to find the right words and phrases. What won't I ask you else? Because if I listen to you and how long you stay already with your company and how I can feel your passion with your team and what you're doing and each day these calls and so on, do you have the impression that you live already your, how can we describe? In German, I would say Berufung. How would you describe that in English? Yeah, your professional destiny, or what would you say?
Or passion,
Passion.
In what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's a very good question, Karina, because I usually, ask myself, what are the 3 key factors that motivate you to get up in the morning and go to work with a smile? And I always say it's the people I work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the customers we help. And it's basically the product, the solution, the value proposition, what we do. And I love it.
You love
if
it.
we
Okay.
can help companies basically to be successful and to provide them professional workspace, no matter where they are in
All over
the world. Wow, that's fantastic. But, on the other hand side, now that I turned 50,
Yay, congrats.
you start thinking, okay, what else can you do? When I was in the States, I did a lot of charity works. I worked for International Heart Foundation. I translated for them. And I also worked for the Catholic Refugee Charity Organization. I did March of Dimes, a lot of different charities. And I really, really enjoyed that. For some reason, that sort of was put on a side when I came here, but I want to sort of go back to that. I also want to get more involved with basketball and sports in Austria. I want to help young girls to find passion in sports, because it's not only that they are physically active, but they are learning so much. And what they learn playing sports, especially team sports, will guide them throughout their whole life. And what I learned from basketball, I actually try to live that not only...
We have the impression, yeah.
So that's really amazing. And
so
this
sort
is what
of
I would like.
coach.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And we as a company, we are partnering with Female Factor. Female Factor is a global organization. And we are now, or I am entering into the mentoring program to work with younger women who want to excel in their career, but need a little bit of guidance. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I can share my experience. And maybe, if a one person learns something from it, then I did a good job.
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, I think the advantage is, I'm much older than you, so I can say this from my point of view. The advantage is that we can share many stories. There are so many moments in our life where we had to learn or where we had to make decisions, either good or bad, but we have stories to tell, haven't we?
Yeah? Absolutely. And exactly, if we can share how we made those decisions, maybe it will help them. Not that we will tell them what decision to make, but at least to guide them in the right direction.
And what would be the next step for your further career, being a coach on the sportal branch?
Yeah. Well, you never know what tomorrow will bring. There are certain things, like I mentioned, being a mentor, maybe getting involved with Austrian basketball and see, where that takes me. I'm also spending a lot of time working on myself to become a better leader, reading a lot, going through different coaching sessions. So I don't know, I'm just excited about the future. And I'm really, it was interesting when I turned 50, all of these new ideas started coming in. I said, well, welcome to the 50.
Okay. Maybe you will hear the call of adventure in another direction. Who knows?
Exactly. Yeah. You never know.
So I guess the whole audience wish you all the best for your further career, for your family, for whatever is coming. And we are very happy that you share your sunshine with us. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here today and to share my story with you and your audience. Thank you. And all the best to you, my dear Karine.
Thank you. Ciao. Liebe Hörerinnen und Hörer des Nonna-Podcasts, ich hoffe, ihr habt den einen oder anderen interessanten Moment in dieser Episode erlebt. Nächste Woche am Freitag früh hören wir uns gerne wieder. Und inzwischen wünsche ich euch eine feine Woche und schickt mir gerne auch euer Feedback und eure Anregungen. Ciao!